I have joining me the Deputy Director, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Kolawole Oluwadare, for more on this. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
So we had the national president of ASUU on our TVC breakfast this morning, our breakfast program. And he did talk about the fact that they had given 4 weeks ultimatum to the federal government, which lapsed. And then it became 8 weeks, nothing was done. And now it is 16 weeks. But let me ask you, that 16 weeks is also now running out, by the way. Why do you think that there has not been any visible solution to this crisis, the ASUU strike?
Thank you very much. The answer is obviously because government is insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. And not just only, and this is not talking about the plight of ASUU as it were, but the students, or the larger Nigerian populace, because we know, given the function of education, particularly tertiary education to national development, the longer the students stay at home, the longer the striking university lecturers return to class, the more it affects the demography, a larger demography of Nigerian citizens. So government doesn't just care, and that's a short answer, unfortunately, because it cannot be said to be a lack of funds to meet these demands, and that is why SERAP has taken this initiative. That initiative is actually an offshoot of what we have found in the Auditor General's report 2018, where the Auditor General said, and it's a public document, by the way, that more than 100 billion naira could not be accounted for by many LGAs across Nigeria. And that is in 2017 alone, and that we are not talking about the one for 2018 or 2019. So why can't government look inwards, as it were, recoup these funds, which of course they are unlawfully stolen or diverted or missing, and make sure that this goes into tertiary education. And this is not talking about secondary or primary, and to address the growing number of out-of-school children, but this is just about tertiary education, to fund this very important part of the Nigerian sector. It's just insensitivity on the part of government. That's it.
Just a minute, if I may jump in here. I want to get to the education sector itself, but there are a lot of people who are now calling on the president to take over the issue himself, that he should meet with ASUU and every other relevant stakeholder on this lingering crisis, just so that students can return to school. The president wading into the matter, do you think that, how far do you think that will go in resolving the crisis?
I really do not see how the president having the discussions and calling negotiations himself would change anything drastically. What we've seen on the part of government is this lack of commitment to even keep promises that have been made by way of agreement, how much more to take proactive steps to address this ugly trend. So, and the president, the minister reports to the president, by the way. So, would you say that President Muhammadu Buhari is ignorant that ASUU has been on strike for several months? Is he ignorant of the issues that have been put forward and discussed? Is he ignorant of the agreement that have been signed with ASUU in 2009? So really, I do not see the president taking over the negotiations, as it were, changing anything fundamentally. What the government needs to do, either by way of directive from the president or whoever is in charge, is to ensure that the much needed funds is put into use to ensure that the striking lecturers go back to school. And it is not just about the recorded expenditure of the pay and welfare of the striking lecturers alone. It goes far much more. It goes to even the infrastructure of the university, the means to teach adequately, to equip these students with the necessary skills they need to contribute their quota to the development of Nigeria. Really, I don't see President Muhammadu Buhari altering anything. It's not going to change anything, really. If he cannot at this point direct the Minister of Education, the Minister of Labor, to take steps to ensure that this issue is resolved.
Talked about your statement while you were asking that funds should be redirected to meet to deal with this crisis. You talked about the rolling effect of all of this crisis on education. I just wanted you to touch on that a bit because we've had several issues around the education sector. Polytechnic as well have also been. We have the Union of the Polytechnics also on strike. College of Education as well, also going on strike. We've had COVID-19 take a hit or take a toll on the education system. In the long run, what is the effect of this on us in terms of education?
Of course, the effect can be nothing but disastrous. It cannot be positive. It is negative. You've just spoken about COVID-19. Why can't we have online classes going on robustly, for instance? That is just by the way, of course. Even to have physical classes, we still have the infrastructural challenges of schools, of several tertiary institutions in Nigeria. So the effect is that the university, tertiary institutions as that are those centers that equip life skills, the intellectual power base, if I can call it that, needed for the social development of a society, is missing. They have been on strike for so long. Even if the schools are in session, we still have the issue of the lack of infrastructure and the things required to make sure that education can be appropriately passed on to the students. How much more were they on strike? So Nigeria is that students as a loss for this. The Nigerian society is losing for this. And overall, in the long term, Nigeria is going to pay for this lack of attention that we pay to the educational support. It's not really about education, actually. It speaks also in health. Even the current situation we have in security is the same lack of commitment of government that has brought us where we are. So really, and I don't think it is for a lack of not knowing the effect of what this strike impacts on Nigeria. It is just lack of that political will to do what is needed for development.
And now that there is a call on the president to wade into the matter, we'll see how far this goes. ASUU said they are waiting for the Minister of Education to brief the president, so we'll see how he responds. Thank you so much for talking to us. Deputy Director, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Kolawole Oluwadare.